Hey y'all, this is Pretty Little Liars Season 5 Episode 1 review. Um, if I can find the full episode, I will put the link down below in the description box. If not, like this video and comment and let me know if you want me to start recording Pretty Little Liars and uploading it. It will have the commercials. I'm not good with editing. So, and it would be from my HD camera zooming in on the TV. So let me know, if you want me to upload the video if I cannot find it. But we're gonna get into it. So, excuse me, y'all. In true Pretty Little Liars fashion, this has been definitely a mind twister, basically. Very suspenseful. It's a lot of stuff going on, so we about to get into it. So they go into the last episode. They finish off from the last episode. It's always a continuation. Ezra had got shot by A. And, they came and got Ezra. He was he was on the ambulance, rushed to the hospital. And the liars are trying to figure out, what should they do. And the girls come up with they should split up because A is still going to be looking for Allison because Allison is there with them, and they have Allison. They gonna still try to kill Ezra. So they end up splitting up. Allison and Area, they go to the hospital, and then the rest of the other three, Hannah and Spencer and Emily, they wait up behind, and they wait up 10 minutes later, and so the girls can get a head start, so A won't catch on till all 5 of them being there. So then A follows A follows Arya and Allison to the hospital, and they try to act as if Allison is, leaving on her own, like she's leaving the hospital on her own. So A starts to follow Allison, and next thing you know, the other 3 girls are following A. But Arya is staying at the hospital because, Ezra is there, and Ezra has nobody there with them. They're all in New York. So A A follows Allison. Next thing you know, the rest of the 3 liars show up behind them, and they was like, "We know we was gonna catch you." A turns around, and Allison makes this A all in his face, and then another A shows up, and he was like, "Is that A or am I A?" And then next thing you know, it was a swarm of A's all around the liars. I thought this was a dream. I thought they was dreaming like this was a joke. The next thing you know, the cops had showed up, and it was like cleared out. So all the A's just, ran. The liars hid under this little playground or whatever. So then they went back to the hospital because basically, they didn't go back to the hospital, but they ended up calling Arya, and, they was like, "Okay, we got A to get away from the hospital so he would not catch Ezra or kill Ezra." And she's like, "Okay." And they asked, "Do you want us to come to the hospital with you?" And then she was like, "No, that would be too suspicious." So then Allison comes up with the idea of taking the girls to the theater, which Ezra, because Ezra and Allison had a thing going on before Arya, and she comes up with the idea to take them to the theater, to Ezra's theater or whatever, and they spend the night there. So they go on, and it's that they're at Spencer's house. Well, the girls are not, but now it's at Spencer's house, and it's Melissa and her mother and her father. and they're all worried because they got the news that the girls are now missing. And so Melissa comes up and she's like, Mom, I have something to tell you. And then her dad looks at her, and her dad is, giving her a look like, don't say shit. Basically. Excuse me, y'all, for these kids that are watching. So, next thing you know, the cop lights are on. And then the cop or whatever, I can't think of his name, he came in and he told them that they had found Allison or whatever. And Melissa's like, okay, what does this have to do with us? And they were saying that, if your daughters are involved in this, this could be a lot of trouble for her. She could be in a lot of danger. And then, so he's like, is there anything you want to tell me? And the father's like, nope, there's nothing you want to tell us. That we want to tell you. And the mother looks at the father like, oh, okay, I see something going on here. So, next thing you know, they go to Mona. And Mona finds out that she's looking at the news. And she finds out that the girls are supposedly missing in Philadelphia. And along with Allison. And then she says, this changes everything. So I'm like, okay, what's Mona up to now? Why can't she just be good? It's always something with Mona. So then it's Ezra, he's having surgery, and his heart rate is going really up, really high. The nurse is like, stay with the doctors, like, stay with us, Mr. Fitz. I'm doing my job, now you do your part. So then, Allison, hold on, so sorry, y'all. Mona and Lucas teamed up. Mona's telling Lucas the girls are no longer in Philly. She found out they're in New York. So this is crazy. It's always something new. I really believe that the writers do not know. I believe that the writers don't know what's going to happen next. They just go as it is. Oh, this will be real good, and then they just try to build off of that. I don't think the writers know how everything is going to turn out. They just, surprise as they come up with these new ideas. So, I'm so sorry, y'all. So the liars were Allison, Emily, Hannah, and Spencer all at the theater or whatever. And they're all talking and joking. And Allison, she's kind of feeling like out of the loop, basically, because she ain't been around the other girls in such a long time. So then she's like, okay, well, I have to go make a phone call. And they're like, to who? They're very, it's suspect because they all supposed to be hiding, and their lives are on, at risk right now. So her talking about making a phone call is like, come on now, what are you about to put us in? You already got us in this dangerous situation. So she's like, well, I'm just gonna call my friends. I do have friends that have been looking out for me, and they deserve to know that I'm all right. So she goes all the way upstairs in the theater or whatever. And so Hannah follows behind her to see what she can hear. Hannah couldn't hear anything. So, next thing you know, hold on, she calls her friends the liars on her. Oh, the liars, they're not trusting Allison right now. It seems very suspicious. She's putting them at risk, basically. So then they go into Ari, and she's at the hospital, and she wakes up. It's late at night. She wakes up and Shauna's over her, and she's like, Shauna, what are you doing here? And Shauna's like, well, Allison called me. She sent me here to check on you. And Aria's like, I don't need you here. I don't really need that from you. And Shauna's like, well, listen, this is just for Allison. You need somebody here. It's no need for, I know you don't like me, but it's no need to be like this. You're in danger. So, because y'all know Shauna's been Allie's, right-hand man for a while. She's been keeping her safe. So, then they go back to the theater, the scene with the girls are all asleep. And next thing you know, a hand goes over Allison's mouth and she wakes up and it's Cece. And her and Cece go and talk. And Cece's like, look, they're talking and Allison's like, we think alike. And Cece's like, we don't just think alike, we look alike. So Allison, Cece, and some other guy, they're all at this little restaurant now, this little cafe basically. And Allison is giving Cece her passport because, Cece has been looking out for Allison for so long that she's getting caught up in some things. She's the one that killed the cop. She's caught up. So Allison feels like she's indebted to Cece. So Allison comes back and she gets back to the theater and Emily wakes up and she sees her and she's like, what are you doing? Where have you been? And then Alice's like, listen, there's some things you just don't need to know. She was like, no, we put our lives on stake, There's a lot of things we need to know and that's not a good enough answer for me. So they go in the back and talk and Allison tells her about her giving the passport to Cece and that, Cece has put her life on the, has risked her life for Allison and she's killed a cop and she's got a lot of things, she gonna go to jail for a long time basically. So she got to go. She got to use her passport. I think that was nice of Allison to give Cece her passport and all. I guess they've been like really, really close, especially if she gonna kill a cop for her. But, you putting these other girls' lives at risk. You can't trust everybody. It's a lot of sneaky people. Everybody ain't your friend, Allison. Okay? So, they go to the hospital and the scene is at the hospital and Ezra has now waken up. And Aria goes back there and Shauna is standing over Ezra. And then she was like, he still hasn't, he's stable, but he still hasn't waking up. He's still unconscious. So then Aria looks at Ezra and he opens his eyes. And next thing you know, he starts shaking real fast. And Aria calls for the doctors, screaming help. The doctors all rush in, and then Shauna leaves out. And then they end up, pushing Aria out the room. So, next scene, Mona army. Mona got an army of people that don't all know each other, but somehow their lives have been touched by Allison in a bad way. And it's like, come on, Mona, why can't you just be good, girl? Why can't you just be good? So, Paige there, Lucas is there, and that, Mona's like, what have Allison said to you? Because Allison's all said things to her. She's called us pigs, and, before I was this type of Mona, before I was just Mona, I was loser Mona. And then they start talking about, all the things Mona called them. And then she calls Paige out. Paige, doesn't want to say anything. She's like, well, Paige, if you don't say it, I will. And Paige is like, look, I don't want to be a part of this. And then Mona's trying to manipulate her. And she's like, well, if you don't want to be a part of this, then I can't protect you anymore. And so Paige starts to walk out the door. As soon as she opens the door, Guess who walks in? Melissa. Crazy, right? And Melissa walks in and she's like, it hasn't worked. And Paige, she ain't walk out the door. She just closed the door like, oh, I need to find out what happened. So I think Paige is going to act like she is down, which Mona's smarter than that, so I don't think it's going to get too far. But I think Paige is going to act like she's down for it, but really all she going to do is be trying to, is going to be trying to protect Emily, basically. So I think she just gonna act like she down just to get the tea on what Mona been doing. I mean, not with Mona, what Melissa been doing with her sneaky behind. Speaking of Melissa, I forgot to mention that Melissa and her father had a talk after, the whole cop incident. And Melissa's kind of like walking on eggshells, and she tells her father that, look, I think we should tell the cop what happened because it would bring Spencer home and she would be safe. And he kind of like intimidating her, and he's like, listen, your mother can never know what happened. And I'm guessing because it puts the mother in a type of situation where she's gonna risk everything, she's gonna lose her job because she's a lawyer and all kind of stuff. The daddy and Melissa is so grimy. I've been seeing that for seasons now. They are really, really dirty. The only ones that really seem like they clean is, in Spencer's family is her mama. It's crazy. So after Ezra, I'm sorry, not after Ezra. So the cop has got a call, the same cop, I can't remember his name. He got some new information that that Ezra is in New York, and that he's related to this whole Allison situation. So he's doing his research on Ezra, and he finds out that Ezra has a theater. So so the cops call the theater, and Allison answers because they are trying to talk to Aria while she's at the hospital because her signal kept dying, and she answered the phone like, yeah, can you hear me? And the cop was like, Allison? I'm starting to think it might be like a special connection between the cop and Allison too. I don't think this is just his job. I think he got a personal motive for this. So Arya goes back in the room to check on Ezra. He is now calmed down or whatever. The doctors have got him situated. She goes in there. He's opened his eyes again. And she's like, Ezra, you're going to be okay. And then he tries to, talk to her, but it's like really whispering. So she brings her ears close and she can hear what he said. And next thing you know, they go back to the liars at the theater. And the liars are like, what did he say? Do he know that it's you or whatever? Or how did he know that it was you? Do you know him? And she's like, I don't know. Allison's like, I don't know. And so the liars are like, okay, well, you're going to need your passport to get out of here. And Allison's like, I don't have my passport anymore. And they're like, what? Where did it go? She was like, I had to give it to somebody. They were like, who did you have to give it to? And then so Emily's like, okay, we can argue about this in the cab. Because the cops now know where you at. Or whoever. They don't even think they know it was the cop. But, people know that you at the theater. So they ran out, and next thing you know, the lights cut off. And the lights cut off, and it, just has the spotlight on them. Next thing you know, Shauna comes out with the gun. I knew Shauna tried to kill Ezra when she was standing over him. And then all of a sudden he just started shaking. That was not a coincidence. And then Allison's like, Shauna, what are you doing? She was like, why don't you shut up? You know, she got her gun or whatever. Why don't you shut up? And Allison's like, Jenna set you up to this, didn't she? And then she was like, well, you know, I'm here to get justice for Jenna. And Allison's like, oh, you're in love with Jenna. And she was like, okay, you know, that's not the point right now. And they're trying to do, Spencer and Emily, they trying to talk her out of it. And she's like, shut up before I blow your head off. So then, guess who comes behind her? Arya. Because Ezra told Arya that Shauna tried to kill him. Arya comes behind with this big old shotgun that was at the theater. And she pushes Shauna off the stage and Shauna dies. Dum 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 dum. That's it for Shauna. And they check and make sure that Shauna is dead, and she's dead. And so the liars are like, okay, we all gotta get out of here. Allison's like, we can't just leave her. And I really feel that Allison is hurt because she truly believed that Shauna was her friend. You know, I think they grew up together. See, it was on another season. They knew each other since they were kids. Then when Allison used to go visit her grandmother somewhere, was it Ravenswood or somewhere? But you know, Shauna fell in love with Jenna. Jenna, you know, put a little bug in her ear. So Spencer is calling the police and like, there's been an accident. They left, and so the police could find Shauna. And that's it for this episode. It gets better. They think it's over, but of course it ain't over. It's just the first episode. But yeah, that's it for Pretty Little Liars. It was a good episode. I look forward to next week's. So, you know, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Jazz Chapman. And of course, if I can't find the link to the full episode, I will put it in. I will try to record it. If you want me to record it, like this episode, like this review, and comment down below and tell me if you want me to record it. Because I do know, I used to try to watch it on abcfamily.com, but then they started wanting you to provide your cable provider, and you would have to have a password and all that to watch it. It's too much. So if I can find it on another website, I'll post it, or anything. If I find it on another YouTube channel, I will post it up. But if I can't, you know, let me know if you want me to start recording myself. Alright, y'all. Take care.